Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Never whine, never complain, never try to justify yourself. It is good people who make good places. Great minds are good thinkers are winners. So let's start the day having an attitude of becoming winners. Have you all guessed, viewing these pictures, the lesson which we are going to discuss? Yes, you're absolutely right. We are going to discuss about sexual reproduction. And myself, your biology teacher, Dr. D. Pramila Nyadarani. Let's move on to today's topics. Today, we are going to discuss about the definition of sexual reproduction, advantages of sexual reproduction in plants, under which we are going to learn about pollination, pollinating agents and dispersion of seeds, as well as the fertilization method, that is the double fertilization method we are going to learn here. Not only that, we are going to learn about the sexual reproduction in humans. That involves a brief description of the male and the female reproductive organs. Fertilization, that is, it involves pre-fertilization events as well as the post-fertilization events. And the last one, population control and reproductive health. Now let us move on in detail. As we have already know that reproduction is an essential biological process. We know that it is the production of similar species, and this involves two modes, that is sexual and asexual. Let me ask you one question, children. What do you imply by sexual reproduction, or what do you mean by sexual reproduction? Yes, your answer is right. Production of offsprings by the fusion of two different gametes, that is two gametes from two different individuals to form a diploid zygote which develops into a mature organism is referred as sexual reproduction. Hence, sexual reproduction involves two different individuals, that is the male and the female individuals. Now let's move on to learn about the sexual reproduction in flower. We all know the flowers are the reproductive parts of a plant. Have you all known the parts of the plant, children? Yes. And I think that you might be remembering the parts of the flower also. Yes. As what you see in this picture, the flower consists of the calyx, the outer whorl called as the calyx or the sepal, the second whorl you call it as a corolla or petal, which is different colored, that is it is brightly colored so as to attract the pollinating agents, and the third whorl consists of the male reproductive organ or the female reproductive organ, or in some flowers both the male and the female reproductive organs are present. Now, the male reproductive organ is referred as androecium or anther, that consists of the stamen and the filament. Then the female reproductive organ is referred as gynoecium, that involves the ovary, which consists of a pistil. The pistil consists of stigma, style and ovary. Now let us move on to know about the types of flowers present in our world. Now the flowers are of two types. They are unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers are nothing but the flowers that contain either only the pistil or the stamen. You refer them as unisexual flowers. Example, papaya, coconut, watermelon, cucumber, pumpkin. Whereas the flowers that contain both stamens and the pistil, you refer them as bisexual flowers. Example, lily, rose, sunflower, brinjal and mustard. Let us move on to know about the pollination event, that is transfer of pollen grains. How does transfer of pollen grains takes place in flower? Now this pollination is of two types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now before moving on to the types, let me tell you about the pollen grain. The anther consists of small tiny particles called as pollen grains. They have a tough protective coat which prevents them from drying up. These pollen grains had to be transferred from one flower to the other flower. For that they need some agents for carrying them. So such type of agents like the wind, water, insects or human, you refer them as what? Pollinating agents. Now coming to the process of pollination. The process of pollination occurs in two ways, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. If the pollen grain lands on the stigma of the same flower, it is referred as self-pollination. When the pollen of the flower lands on the stigma of another flower of the plant or that of a different plant, you refer it as cross-pollination. Let us learn about self-pollination. Here the picture here shows you the self-pollinating events taking place. That is, the pollen grain of the flower falls on the stigma of the same flower. So you call this process self-pollination as autogamy and you call them as self-fertilizing flowers. So here you call them as self-pollinizing flowers. Now let us move on to the next one, cross-pollination. This cross-pollination, it involves what? Two different flowers. So this one you refer it as allogamy. Here the cross-pollination, that is when the pollen is delivered to a flower from a different plant, here what happens? The plants adapted to what? Outcross. So they pollinate. That is the transferring of pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same plant or another flower of different plant, you call it as what? Cross pollination. Can you understand, children? And hence this is referred as allogamy. Now coming to the pollinating agents, here the bee is the pollinating agent. Here when the bee comes to gather the nectar, the pollen grains, which are small tiny dust-like particles, they get attached to the hairy legs. Then when with the hairy legs the pollen grains are there. So when the bee flies to the another flower, the pollen dust gets what? Enters into the stigma of another flower of the same plant or another flower of different plant. Hence this is referred as cross-pollination. The pollinating agents help in cross-pollination. Here in this picture also you can see how cross-pollination has occurred due to the butterfly. Now after pollination, fertilization events takes place. After pollination, children, what happens? Fertilization events take place. See, for example, when fertilization, that is what happened when the pollen grains enter the stigma, then they get swelled by absorbing water. After absorbing water, they get germinated into a pollen tube. That is, they get germinated and form into a pollen tube, which is a long tube-like structure. It extends towards the water, the ovule, through the micropyle. That is, the tip of the tube ruptures and it releases what? That is, the pollen grain ruptures. Can you understand, children? It ruptures and it releases two male gametes into the embryo sac. The mature embryo sac has an egg apparatus, as what you can see around in the another picture, blue color picture you can see. The blue color represents the what? The egg apparatus. This egg apparatus, inside the egg apparatus you can see what? One haploid egg, two synergids, two polar nuclei and three antipodal cells. When one male fuses, that is one male gamete fuses with the egg, it forms what? Two-end zygote called as syngamy, and this process can also be called as generative fertilization. That is, the male nuclei, fusion of male nuclei with the female nuclei, it forms what? A zygote. The zygote will be what? Diploid state. So this fusion of nucleus, you call it as syngamy, and this fertilization is called as what? Through the gametes you call it as generative fertilization. That is one type of fertilization taking place in the plants. As what I've already told you, double fertilization take place. I've already told you two male gametes are what? Released. One male gamete alone fuses with the egg to form what? A zygote. Now the zygote which is in 2n condition, that is a diploid zygote, it gets transferred into what? Transformed into embryo, and the embryo transforms into what? Ovule. Ovules are definitely gets transformed into seed, and from seed what comes? Flower comes, and from flower fruit comes. That is one type of fertilization. Now the second male gamete, what does it do? It fuses with the two polar nuclei to form 3n primordial endosperm nucleus. Okay, so it forms, what does it does, children? One male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei to form 3n, that is triple fertilization. This is called as what? Triple fertilization events takes place. Can you understand? Sorry, not triple fertilization, it is triple fusion takes place. That is 3n primordial endosperm nucleus occurs. Hence this type of what? Fertilization, you refer it as vegetative fertilization. So the first fertilization is the true fertilization, and the second one is what? Vegetative fertilization. So this fertilization, that is two types of fertilization occurs in plants, and hence you call it as what? Double fertilization. I hope it would be clear for you, children. Let me repeat. The first male gamete forms a zygote. The zygote gets transferred into embryo, and embryo becomes ovule, and then seed and flower and into a fruit. Now the other male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei to form what, children? 3n primordial endosperm nucleus. So you refer this second condition as what? Triple fusion or vegetative fertilization. The first one you refer it as syngamy or generative fertilization. So together generative fertilization and vegetative fertilization, you refer it as double fertilization. I hope you have all understood, children. Now let us move on to the next one. Here in this pictures you can see the different types of seeds. Okay, the different types of seeds, they have different what? Dispersal ability. That is, some seeds will be hairy, some seeds will be winged, some seeds will be what? Hard, that is they will be very heavy. So depending upon the agents, the dispersal of seeds also depend. Here in the next picture you can see the dispersal of seeds mainly by wind, animals, water, then by bursting and humans. So when it is dispersed by wind, you call it as anemophily or anemochory. Then animals you refer it as zoophily or zoochory. Then by insects you call it as anthrophily. Then by water you refer it as hydrophily or hydrochory. Let me repeat. Wind is referred as anemophile. Zoophily, that is animals. Anthrophily you refer it as insects. Then hydrophily means through water. Then eventually bursting of seeds can also be seen. Now let us move on to the next one, the sexual reproduction in humans. As we have already known that the fusion of male and female gametes to form young ones is called as sexual reproduction. Here the sexual reproduction of human beings, it involves what? Primary sex organs as well as secondary sex organs. Now the primary sexual organs are nothing but the male and the female reproductive organs. That is, the primary sexual organs are responsible for the production of gametes and the sex hormones. They are by birth itself present. Can you understand, children? Now coming to the secondary sexual organs, they are the genital ducts and the glands that help in the transportation of what? Reproduction ability that takes place only after puberty. You all know that what is meant by puberty. Puberty is nothing but attaining reproductive maturity. For the male, the reproductive maturity is 13 to 14 years, whereas the female reproductive maturity age is 10 to 12 years, 10 to 12 years. I hope you have learnt about the puberty and the reaching the age of adolescence in 8th standard. Now let us move on to the primary sex organs, that is the male and the female reproductive organ. Here we are going to discuss the first one about the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system, we all know that, see in this picture you can see the testis, scrotum, vas deferens, urethra and the penis. Here the male reproductive system, that is, let me repeat, it consists of what? 5 parts. They are the testis, scrotum, vas deferens or vas efferens, urethra and penis. Now the testis, that is, it is the primary reproductive organ. It consists of the male gonads called the sperms. The sperms and the testosterone is present in the male reproductive organ, that is the testis. Now this testis is present in a bag like structure, that is a pouch or bag like structure that has what? That is seen below the what? Sacrum, that is you call it as what? Scrotum. You call it as a scrotum, a bag like structure that is what? Flooding down, that is which is hanging down, you refer it as what? A scrotum. This scrotum consists of testis, I already told you. The testis has having what? The sperms. There are millions of sperms formed. Do you know why the scrotum is located at the lower part? Yes, you are right. The scrotum acts as a thermoregulator, that is temperature 1 to 3 degrees Celsius, that is lower the body temperature alone is necessary for the sperms to be very active. Here the upper picture you can see the sperm. The sperm consists of the head, neck, middle piece and the tail. Now let us move on to the next part, that is the third part, vas deferens. Vas deferens is nothing but it carries sperms to the seminal vesicles for storing. It's a 40 centimeter long straight tube, children. Now after vas deferens, urethra. This urethra carries urinogenital work. Now the last part of the male reproductive organ is the penis. The penis is nothing but a long, thick, muscular organ which is made up of erectile tissue for ejaculation. I hope you have all understood the male reproductive system. Now let us move on to the female reproductive system. This female reproductive system involves 4 parts. They are the ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus and the vagina. Now the ovaries are seen at the lowest part of the abdomen, that is one ova, and progesterone and estrogen is secreted by the ovaries. 1 month one ovary is what? Released. That is one ova is released by the left and either the left or the right side of ovary. Now the ovary gets extended by a 10 to 12 centimeter long tube called as fallopian tube. This fallopian tube or oviduct. This one carries the ova to the uterus. Now the uterus is nothing but a large inverted pear shaped muscular structure which lies behind the bladder. Now the next part is the vagina. Vagina is nothing but it is 7 to 10 centimeter muscular tube which contains an elastic tissue, that is it can also be called as birth canal. Now coming to the female reproductive organ, I hope you have all known about the 4 parts, namely the ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus and the vagina. Now here in female, the fertility periods starts at the puberty. That is, how will you say that a female is reproductively matured? that is the sign of puberty is menstruation. So the cycle of events take place in every 28 days. You refer it as what? Menstruation. I hope you have all known about what? Male and the female reproductive systems. Now let us move on to fertilization. When sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperms may fuse with an egg. Such fusion of the egg and the sperm is called as fertilization. That is, when during copulation, sperms are ejected into the vagina through the penis. The sperms are highly active and motile. They travel upwards through the uterus to the fallopian tube within 5 minutes. They stay there for several hours by undergoing chemical changes, and only fertilized ovum, only when the ovum is fertilized, that is gets fertilized by the fusion of sperm. So fertilization is nothing but fusion of sperm nucleus with the egg nucleus. They form a diploid zygote. So during fertilization, what happens, children? The nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuses to form a single nucleus, that is, they form a diploid zygote. That is, now you call it as what? Fertilized egg. So let's move on to the next event. So the one which I told you is referred as pre-fertilization event. Now coming to the post-fertilization event. See here in this picture, you can see the sperms targeting the ova, and out of 1 in a million, that is out of millions of sperms, only one gets into that. The nuclei of the male and the female fuse, that is fertilization occurs, and you can see the development of the zygote, and yes, the 2-end condition of zygote is seen here. Now after this stage, you refer it as post fertilization changes. Now after conception, so the formation of what? Fertilization egg, that is formation of zygote, you refer it as what? Conception. So after conception, the zygote undergoes successive nuclear and cell divisions to form what? A ball of cells. That is, you call the ball of cells as cleavage. So when cleavage occurs, they form into blastocyte. Then after the blastocyte. Now the blastocyte gets attached to the what? Uterine wall. After 7 days of implantation, it has to be, the blastocyst has to be what? Be there. Now after implantation, the embryo had to develop. That is, the development of embryo into fetus occurs only in the 3rd week. The 3rd week, you can see what? The neural tube formation and the spinal cord. After the 4th week only, the placenta forms, and you know what is a placenta, children? Yes, placenta is what? It serves as a nutritive, respiratory and excretory organ for the fetus. Now the complete development of fetus till birth, you refer it as what? Gestation. After the, you can see the formation of zygote here and the formation of fetus. So the complete development takes place how many days, children? 280 days, that is 40 weeks, and you refer this 40 weeks period as gestation. Then after the fetus has fully matured, that is the correct age, that is the correct weight of the fetus should be 3 to 5 kg, that is it has to be 240 millimeter from head to bottom. At that stage, the fetus had to be expelled. So expelling of fetus, you refer it as parturition. I hope you have all understood, children. Now let us move on to the next one, that is the, see here in this picture, you can see a brief description of how the fetus is growing. As I've already told you, the development, that is in the 3rd week, neural tube and spinal cord develop. 4th week, placenta develops, and complete development of fetus till birth, it takes 280 days or 40 weeks. Now here in this picture you can see the internal fertilization taking place in the animal. What do you mean by internal fertilization, children? That is, when fertilization takes place inside the female body, you refer it as what? Internal fertilization. That is, example, humans, cows, dogs, hens. Now coming to the external fertilization. Fertilization takes place outside. That is, the fusion of the male and the female gametes takes place outside the body of the female. Example, fish, starfish, and the one which is coming here is frog. Very good. Now let us move on to the next one, population control and reproductive health. Why is it necessary for population control and reproductive health, children? Or what do you mean by reproductive health? Okay, yes, very good. You are right. The state of complete physical, mental and social well-being in all matters of reproductive system is referred as reproductive health. One must have a knowledge of keeping their reproductive health properly. Then only population can be controlled. See, when the mother's health is poor, a healthy baby cannot be formed. Or else, when consecutively mother produces or mother gives birth, the health of the mother gets deteriorated. That is one aspect we have to know about reproductive health and population control. Then the next one, when the birth rate increases, population increases. And population increases, then we might be facing many problems. Hence, we need to understand the birth control methods. So, to control population, one has to know about the birth control aspects. Here, some preventive measures or devices are used. So, such devices or measures, you refer it as what? Contraceptive methods. So, to prevent birth control, some preventive measures or devices we had to use. It is referred as contraception method or contraceptive. The methods are barrier method, chemical method, intrauterine devices method, natural method, surgical method. Is it clear? So, 5 birth control methods are there, children. They are the barrier method that involves condoms, femidom and cervical cap. Here in this picture you can see the methods of what? Birth control. The second one, chemical method. It involves oral pills, vaginal pills. The third one involves intrauterine devices referred as IUD like copper T method. The fourth one is self-abstinence, that is rhythm method and coitus interrupts should be there, that is natural method. Fifth one is surgical method, either vasectomy can be done or tubectomy. And this one, the surgical method also involves medical termination procedure, that is MTP method for abortion. Now, when you are knowing about the birth control, you must be aware of sexual transmitted diseases also. So, STDs are also caused because of what? Unpreventive what? Sexual impact. So, this STDs are caused by bacterial infections, protozoan infections and viral infections. Gonorrhea, syphilis are bacterial infections, and you might be knowing about HIV and warts caused by the viral infections. So, one has to keep in mind, especially women should keep in mind, that is, as they are child bearers, they must be very attentive in taking medicines properly when they are going to bear a child. So, they should not take heavy doses of medicines, they should not drink more, or they should not smoke, and they had to be clean always. That is, we have to be physically, mentally prepared for the part of reproduction to take place. Now, for reproduction cycle to take place, one has to be a mental maturity. So, that's why the government also has given what? The age limit of marriage. So, unwanted pregnancy should be stopped, and then for these things to happen, one should create awareness to the people. Creating awareness and educating people is the primary goal of controlling population and increasing the aspect of reproductive health. I hope you have all understood, children. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.